The 40-Year-Old Boy is sponsored by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. This will make sense later. Listen to me, motherfucker. I'm talking. I say horrible things sometimes because I think they're funny. My podcast is a verbal mosh pit because it's just me pinwheeling around. You don't know where the fuck I'm going to wind up, and I generally have no idea when it's going to end or start. I'm responsible for this whole goddamn thing. I want a little respect from you people. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. Folks, it is 10:52 p.m. on Wednesday night, so if you listen to this on it's a late night record, I guess is my point. It's 10:52 by me, which means it's Christ, it's almost 1 in the morning in Chicago. But I know nobody in Chicago is in bed or sleeping or anything because I think the entire city is still lining up to take sips out of the Stanley Cup, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup tonight. Yeah, you can make a face like you don't care, but I care. That's why I'm late, actually. I had to skate a lap. I was in Philly tonight, and I went on the ice, and I skated a lap at the Stanley Cup, and I celebrated with the Blackhawks, and then caught a late red eye here. And Lily she doesn't even know hockey exists. Lily doesn't even know what ice is. I mean, that's how far away her touchdown is from me on this entire thing. Lily doesn't even know that ice exists. But yes, it does, folks. And now Chicago Blackhawks are Stanley Cup champions. And I say this with trepidation. I won't lie to you, folks, because we all know I wear my sports soul on my sleeve, and I've been careful kind of not to talk so much about hockey on here. People will write me and they're like, "Dude, are you a hockey fan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a huge hockey fan, a huge Blackhawks fan." But I have a lot of Flyer fans who listen to me, and I will say this: some of them are very cool and wrote me, during the year, and we traded back and forth talking, and then. Once it became Chicago and Philadelphia, those people turned on me a little bit. And even though this is the thing that's crazy to me, I've not said word fucking one about the Blackhawks or hockey on here. And I do love it. I'm a huge fan, but there was no point because, quite frankly, I got tired of hearing, I would talk about the Phillies and then, which is even crazier, okay? Because like the people who were with me because I love the Phillies, then all of a sudden it's like Blackhawks Flyers. And there are a couple of people, like I said, who are cool, but other people wrote me and they're just like, we're going to kick your fucking ass. But, dude, I'm not on the team. I don't know if you're aware of this. Again, men in costumes. That's all it is. As I've talked about with sports, I can't validate my feelings. I can't invest myself that deeply in men in costumes, flipping a disc of rubber around an ice surface. It's the thing. If you extrapolate it and you break it down to its nth degree, it's men in costumes, grown men, figure skating and carrying wood around and slapping around a rubber disc. It's something you would have seen cavemen do, quite frankly. If before the Iron Age, of course, if they had invented rubber or wood or blades of steel in some way, I guess. So honestly, it isn't something you'd see cavemen do at all. You would see them do it, but they would do more of a soccer incarnation of it, where they'd be running around on ice, falling down, and kicking a rock. That's what cavemen would do. And those cavemen, of course, would eventually grow up and settle Philadelphia because. I don't understand you people. Look, I'm your friendly internet voice, your pal, your comedy buddy, right? And then all of a sudden it becomes a sports thing and you're fucking mad at me? Like, I didn't do anything. And the thing that's crazy to me, I didn't even talk about hockey or the Blackhawks unless people wrote me. Like, if people would write me about it, I go, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm a huge Blackhawk fan. I'm excited to see what's going on. And I will tell you this is awkward and strange. Not really, but it's weird. Not really weird. It's nothing. This is nothing. Okay, so... Brace yourselves. This is nothing, but here it comes. I'm 42, going to be 43 in a month and a half or so. And now it's official. All of my men in costumes clubs, all of my sports teams that I love and follow have now won championships in my lifetime. Very weird. It's very strange. Philadelphia Phillies, who of course won now, they won in 1980. Why am I going to run it down? I don't know, because I feel like it. Chicago Bears win the Super Bowl in 85. Bulls repeated championships in the 90s. And now, finally, the Chicago Blackhawks have won a Stanley Cup. So now I can draw the curtain and close the men in costumes chapter of my life. I won't, but I can. I have not been unfulfilled in any way at all. And I will tell you this: as a kid, like I said, I loved the Blackhawks, but I also loved the Islanders because they had my favorite player. That's how I got to be a Phillies fan because Mike Schmidt was on the team, and he was my namesake, or he wasn't my namesake. I wasn't his namesake either, I guess. We were, by some weird freak occurrence, I happen to be a fan because I found out he had the same name as me, and now I become a Philly fan. Often I think because my mom's name, my mom's maiden name, also would have made me a baseball player. Like if she didn't marry, my mom didn't marry Leonard Albert Schmidt, and that's good. Give out the middle name too, so now everybody can get it in my bank account. That's great. Trust me, I don't use my dad's name. My dad was such a drunk that, quite frankly, if I figure if I use his name as a password somehow, that would still inebriate the account, and I wouldn't be able to sign in somehow. But yeah, so my mom's maiden name would have been a baseball player's name too. Not as good a baseball player. I mean, certainly not the best third baseman who ever played the game. This is here and there, folks. I don't know. I'm lost, man. I fucked up. I have just completely. Lily and I just spent the last 20 minutes talking about how our lives are ruined, and there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, we did. You can pretend that we didn't. You can pretend to be all happy, smiley, Lily, on here, and
I never said my life was ruined.
not ruined.
Happier.
Not ruined. We're both happy. Things are okay, but then things aren't going the way they should. Or look, nobody has things go the way they envisioned. I mean, really, has anyone out there had their plan come to fruition? I mean, other than the Chicago Blackhawks this evening, I don't think anyone out there decided to say this is what's going to happen, and it's happened that way all along. No, there's always been. I was gonna say twists and turns, and I'm like, what are you saying? And then I was gonna say I had trepidation about saying twists and turns. This is terrible, folks. Terrible. There's not a T for you. Enjoy that. I want to take. Where are we at? I don't want any of this to go out. No, this is horrendous. It's terrible. It's not good at all. I continue to plod forward and just ruin shit. I'm the human plague. I just. Because I want the show to be honest, and I want it to be unvarnished honesty. It is a little early for this. I usually like to have that ramp up in the beginning, and then we'll deal with stuff in the middle. But I can't because I can't get my mind off of. All I've done is just kick the shit out of everything this past week or so. I mean. Because I want to be honest, all right? I think I'm being honest and everything's going to be fine. And then I'm honest, and then people hear my honesty, and they're fucking pissed off. And then they call me up, and they want to talk about it, or they don't, even worse, they don't want to talk about it. And then you don't know. Fuck. All right. Innocuous stuff. Innocuous things, all right? I did the animation show last Wednesday night. I did there's no groaning. That's fine. It was really fun. Mike Funt was the guy who booked me, and I thank him, and I hope he has me back. But it was so funny. Right when I showed up, I walked up, and it looked like a Miller Lite commercial. Like, you ever see that? You ever see that commercial where they put the avocados in the wood chipper, and it's nothing but white people in horn-rimmed glasses in a backyard drinking? That's what this looked like when I walked up. It was young Hollywood. It was all these young hipster type people, and I say that because they were also their animation type. I don't want to say nerdy people because they're not nerdy, but they're brilliant at what they do, and that's their interest. Everybody has their own interest thing. So they were trying a new thing by combining the comedy with the animating, and I was happy to be involved. And I talked on here last week about how I had gotten an email from Mike, the animator, who told me that he accepted the challenge of trying to keep up with me, which is good because I think when you're going to be in a comedy team with somebody, the first thing you need to do is establish that you're having a duel. You need to make sure that you have completely different goals and you weren't planning on bringing them together in harmony at any point whatsoever. And again, I'm overreacting because I know what he meant. He meant it in the spirit of being fun and funny. Whatever. So I show up, and it's a nice place, animation studio. And when I see the crowd, I'm a little taken aback. I won't lie because I walked in and it looked like the set of a Miller Lite commercial. I don't know if that makes any sense. If you see the Miller Lite commercial where they put the avocado in a wood chipper and it's all young 20-somethings with horn-rimmed glasses drinking, that's what this was because they had gone out and gotten their own beer and stuff and. Because it was, they had knocked off a hard day of drawing woodpeckers, whatever the fuck they do at this animation place. I have no idea. All I know is it was time to drink, apparently. So I walked in and I met people. They were very nice, and I met Mike Fontu, who had booked me for the show. They brought us in the back and gave us a big pep talk to talk to our animators. So they assigned the animators and told everybody the order, and it turned out I was going last. I was the de facto headliner, which bad news for all of the hipsters. So and fuck that. It is not bad news for the hipsters because I'm fucking great. They were lucky to have me there. God damn it. That seems strong too. Let's find a happy medium. Let's find a happy medium between I suck and I'm great. Can we do that? Bullshit on that. Dude, look, we all know Gene Simmons is a fucking tool shed, right? Gene Simmons from Kiss? I don't care, man, because I'll tell you, I saw a quote from him this week, and I'm just like, dude, Gene Simmons is the fucking greatest. He's the greatest. He's a complete fucking asshole, and I wouldn't want to deal with him on any level whatsoever. But I read a quote from him this week. He got into a big email fight with a guy named, I just started reading this guy named Bob Lefsitz. Is that his name? The Lefsitz letter? I think I'm pronouncing it right. Or a listener turned me on to it, and I like it, actually. It's like a lot of inside music stuff, and the guy gets a little preachy by telling people how to monetize and telling bands how to make it. And I'm going to go, well, you're a balding dude with a blog. I mean, granted, you may have accomplished a lot of things in the past, but it just seems like very much an old man trying to tell young people what to do. And that, trust me, young people got no interest in listening to old people. And fuck, old people don't want to listen to old people. Nobody wants to listen to fucking anybody in this country. Believe me. But he was having a fight with Gene Simmons because I guess there was some big musical gathering, and Simmons formed the label Simmons Records. And this guy took Simmons to task, and you're only in it for the money, or you're, whatever, you're just a fucking scam, and blah, blah, blah. And the quote from Gene Simmons was, look, I won't stop telling you how great I am. Find someone else to do that. And I was like, you know what? That's absolutely fucking true. Because if you're not going to sit there and crow and tell everybody how fucking great you are, how many other people are going to do it for you? God damn it. Find somebody else for that. That was why I liked it so much. God damn it. I chili dipped even that quote. It was I won't stop telling you how great I am. Find someone else for that. Because it just sounded like so dismissive. Like this, yeah, you know what? Fuck that. So, yeah, from now on, I'm great. All right. So I had to meet Mike, the animator, and he was a nice guy, and we discussed his throwing down of the gauntlet in the challenge. And I had no worries or illusions that he wouldn't be able to keep up with me. I thought for sure he was going to be fine. Everything was going to be great. So we talked in the back, and I was like, he's like, what are you going to talk about? What do you want? What are you doing? And I said, well, here's the deal. I said, and let me say this. I don't know if I've covered this already, because I'll tell you, folks, I've told the story 9 times. We've had to chop the fucking shit. So if I'm repeating this is on me, not on Lily. But what happened was, in the email, he said, I heard on Mr. Schmidt's podcast that he didn't think an animator could keep up with him. I welcome the challenge, sir. So I assumed that meant that Mike, my animator, listened to my podcast, or was a listener of my podcast and was familiar with it. So I said to him, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I was going to kind of hop all over the place in the beginning and then maybe tell a short version of the George Arnold story from the podcast. And he gets this look on his face like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And he goes, the George Arnold story? And I went, oh, you said in the email that you listened to the show. I thought maybe you knew what the story was. I go, okay, it's a story where I'm like trapped in a guy's house. And so I have to give him a thumbnail version of that story. So then it dawns on me, well, fuck, if he doesn't know that story, then why would I do it on stage? Because I was trying to give him some comfort level of something he had already heard me talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to make it easy for Mike the animator to keep up with me. And finally I said, well, look, here's an idea I have. Because I assumed that everybody was going to be sketching along with everybody's act and trying to keep up and all that. I said, here's something that, because they made it very clear, you guys are a team. Let's all make each other look good. So I wanted to take that. I'm being serious, and it's serious because it's in an animation studio with animators. I'm on their fucking home turf. Quite frankly, the guy could just draw an arrow toward my head and go, fuck this guy, if he wanted to. You know what I mean? So the whole point was, I was like, all right, well, I want Mike to look good too. If anything, I want him to look better than me. I can handle my end. So I tell him, I go, look, dude, we're a team. Do whatever you think you got to do to be funny. I go, I don't care. I go, you're not going to hurt my feelings. You're not going to bother me. Nothing's going to be wrong. I want you to shine because this is about both of us. I said, here's an idea I had. What if you just drew the most elaborate drawing you've ever attempted? I said, what if you just cut loose with all of your animation skill and drew the fucking ceiling of the Sistine Chapel? And he goes, well, I could draw that with, and then with God, where God holds his finger out. I go, what if you did that? You just drew it. Like you didn't even listen to a fucking word I said, and you just started to draw. So I was doing my act, and you were drawing this elaborate Sistine Chapel. And at the end, I said, I'll tell you what the end of my story is. And then by that time, you're done with God pointing his finger, and I look up and I touch my finger to the drawing of God, and then I walk off. How would that work?
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, you know what? We could try that, and that's a possibility. I said, and then, of course, because I have fucking ADD, I'm like, well, we could do that, or we could do this, we could do this. You can try to keep up. We could do, I go, there's a million things. I go, whatever you want. I go, but I think it's a really cool idea if you just did like this elaborate drawing, and at the end of it, we just wound up having it be something great. He said, that's a pretty cool idea. So I said to him, hey, do me a favor. What am I in for here? Just so I go, I understand you were going to animate me and we're going in that route. I go, but what does it usually turn into? Like, have these comics been studying with these animators? Because you and I didn't even speak. He goes, I don't know how they handle it. He goes, but I'll be honest with you. Usually it gets blue quick. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to paraphrase exactly what he said, but he basically told me it turns into a cockfest sometimes. And guys will just start drawing dicks because guys will be doing dick jokes, and that's the easy route. So I looked at him and I go, all right, well, we can establish now that we have a no cock pact. Is that correct? And he goes, yeah, and I'm cool with that. I go, yeah. I go, you don't draw any dicks behind me. I go, listen. I go, he goes, well, do you mind if I like kind of, make fun a little bit, or if I goof around? I go, dude, you can do whatever you want to do. That's funny. You can make fun of me. You can be as funny as you want because I want you to shine too. I go, but if you draw me fat, I'm going to eviscerate you. I said, that's all. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I go, don't draw me fat or stupid or, what I mean? Don't hold me up to ridicule. Be funny, but don't make me the joke. And he's like, yeah. He goes, I would never do that. I go, good. As long as I like I said, this team thing, great. I'm on board. So I go, so what's the final verdict here? Do you want to try a big picture thing or do you want to just go like loose with it and you're just trying to keep up? And he goes, you know what? I want to keep it loosey-goosey. And I said, okay, cool. So you'll just keep up with what I'm doing. And he goes, great. I said, all right. So I go in the back of the room and I get the vibe for the other comics and what they're doing. And the comics go up, and sure enough, one comic talks about, fucking, and then they start drawing fucking on. And I will tell you, the concept of it is really great because at the comics talk, the animators draw on an overhead thing behind them, and you can move. It was really neat. This one guy started talking about owls, and the guy drew a big owl, and you could see it coming to life as he's drawing it, as the guy's talking about owls, and then he gives the owl eyes, and somehow they move the owl's eyes because the comic said something about, oh no, fuck this owl, and then the owl, he like turned his eyes toward the comic. It was great. It was really neat that you could do that. So the technology of it was really fun. The second comic who went up did not acknowledge his animator in any way, shape, or form. He just decided he was going to do his set. So immediately the animator decided, well, fuck this guy. And they had a war, essentially, where the comic did his set and the guy was trying to write stuff that was relevant to the set. But then he actually would write words like, is he listening to, or is he even looking at me? Like the the animator started to kind of comment on the board. And I'm like, and I walked over to Mike, my animator. I put my hand on his shoulder. I go, that's not going to happen with us, right? Like, you know what I mean? And Mike's like, no. And, but it wasn't the animator's fault. It was like, the comic, it was like he didn't even care about what they were drawing. And the thing is, the animator stole the fucking show because then everything he drew was hilarious. I mean, he was really funny. So, but unfortunately, it seemed to be at the expense of the comic because the comic didn't even know. He didn't even care because he wasn't even fucking acknowledging it. So the night goes on. Everybody's funny. Animators are funny. Comics are funny. Everything's going real well. And I'm, getting a little hinky about going up there. And but I think I'm going to be fine. And it's funny. I meet as I'm standing in the back of the room. I meet Mike's wife Bailey, Mike Funt, Mike the host. He had his wife Bailey was back there, and she listens to the show. And she came up and she was real nice and very complimentary. And I told her, yeah, I had just recorded that day's show. And she's like, well, we're excited that you're here. She could not have been more friendly or cool. And so I was, I felt out of my element getting there. But I'm like, well, I can make people laugh pretty much fucking anywhere, so I'm going to be fine. And I wasn't really worried about the dynamic with Mike, the animator, because I'm like, well, what the fuck? He understands where we're at. We're on the same page. So I go up on stage. They call me. Finally, the show goes on. Everybody's funny. Everybody's great. And then they introduce me, Mike Schmidt. I go on stage, and I opened up and I said, you know what? I think we've answered one question here tonight. You know what's not a good idea? Hey, let's all drink and draw. And it got an okay laugh. And then I said, because inevitably everybody has these grandiose ideas of writing, doing a Monet or something with lilies or a pond. And what you get is 37 cocks and a bear. Because that's what had happened, was everybody was drawing cocks in every single joke, and except the comic one ahead of me, Jocelyn, was very funny, and the comic drew a bear when she was talking, so it was like I was like 37 cocks and a bear, and I should say that at the pace I'm saying this to you now, imagine if like times 100 on stage. Because I'm like, yeah, 37 cocks and a bear. I go, nobody ever went to Alex Ross and said, hey, you know what, the Superman is really good. What if we got him a flask? Would that be good? I'm talking, it's weird to do. The dynamic of it is strange because I'm trying to, I almost forgot about Mike, but then there was a laugh out of like an incongruous laugh, and I realized it was something Mike had done. So I look back at the screen, the overhead projector, and it's just a bunch of squiggly lines. And I say to him, and I go, what the fuck is that? And he goes, well, you're kind of, he says something like, you're talking really crazy fast, or I was just like, he was trying to convey how fast I was talking. I go, what is that, a tornado? Is that what it is? Is that you just drew a tornado because of how fast And so then I turned around again, and he has a bear paw coming out of the squiggly lines, and then a cock in the top, coming out of the top. So I think we all know that within 90 seconds, the no cock pact is going out the window. But you know what? In fairness to him, I said cock. He has to fucking draw it, right? Doesn't he have to draw it? I mean, I can't expect him to have highfalutin standards and morals when the first thing I said was 37 cocks and a bear. So I turn around and I go, and I see the bear paw and I see a cock, and I go, what is that? Is that like? I go, dude, is that like a cock bear tornado? Oh my Christ! I go, first of all, can we all assume that can we all admit that is the most dangerous tornado you will ever encounter in your lives? A tornado filled with bears and cocks? I go, and wait, you drew a face on that cock? Oh my God, that makes it even worse. A tornado with bears and face cocks. And then, I got to be honest, hiding in the basement doesn't even save you from that tornado. That's a tornado that opens your door and comes looking for you, motherfucker. All right, this is the first 2 minutes of the act. So I mean, I'm talking, I'm blazing, and I'm flying, and I'm because I'm podcast Mike. That's the whole point. Is I'm trying to bring podcast Mike to the stage. And Mike's trying to keep up. To his credit, he's trying to keep up. So then he gets a laugh, and I turn around and I look, and then there's something there, and I go, wait a minute, what's going on? Are you making fun of me? What did I miss? Because I can't see anything, but they're all laughing. But what he had done is he had drawn something like over my head that I can't see. So I turn around to try to find it, and I go, wait a minute, is it here? Hold on, I'm trying to move my head to try to fit into the picture. And it just, from that point on, it was just a clusterfuck. I mean, it's like Mike's trying to draw and keep up, and then I'm just trying to talk, and we're missing each other. It seemed like we were missing each other. We got laughs. So then finally halfway through, I decide to shift gears, and I go, maybe if I tell a longer story, it's easier for him to stay with me. So I shift into the George Arnold story. And I tell a shorter version of it. I told you last week that I told it on Jordan Jesse Go. And the room was really with me. It was great. They were like listening, and then I got a big laugh at the end. Well, this story, I started to tell it, and I should tell you, again, this is not Mike's fault. I'm talking like a nut. I mean, because that's who I am. It's my fault. I should have made it work better because I should have spoken more slowly. I should have had a set list. You know what? Again, discipline. That's the thing, is I have no fucking discipline. If I would have had discipline, I would have made this fucking show work. And then I did a thing that I hated myself for. There was I was talking, I was being funny, and there was a woman in the front row who was an older woman. Like, I'm talking like gray hair, glasses. And I'm talking, and in the middle of a bit, I look and I go, "Oh my God, you're 90." And she looks up at me, and I go, "I'm sorry, ma'am. It threw me. I did not realize." I thought, again, it's like 9,000 hipsters and you. It just seemed weird. And there was no reason to lash out at her. I did it because I didn't get what I wanted on something, and so I went after her. It's just, I know who I am as a comic, and it just was, I was fishing, and it felt, I was so fucking angry at myself for doing it. Oh, I was so mad. So then I did the George Arnold story, and I was pouring sweat, man, pouring sweat, trying to make this thing work. And I will tell you that the story did not work the way I felt it should have worked because I didn't even tell it right. I told it. I felt a little more rushed. I didn't live in it until about halfway through it. And then I had the room. They kind of listened to it. And then, again, same thing where they were with me. I felt I repeated too much. And then, what the fuck do you care? You don't care. And then big laugh at the end. But then when I came off stage, everybody was very nice. Everybody came up to me and they were like, "Oh my God, that last story was so amazing. We were so nervous for you." And we was like, "You really made us feel like we were in the room there." And so that was cool. I mean, I guess it was there, even though I didn't feel it on stage. And then Mike, the animator, comes up to me and I go, "Hey, what's going on?" I go, "I got to apologize to you." I go, I think I might have screwed that up. He's like, "No." He goes, "I think I screwed it up." And I go, "Nah, dude, don't, you were great. Don't worry about it." He goes, "No." He goes, I thought I could keep up with you, and I think it's pretty obvious that I couldn't."
Aww.
And I go, "Nah, dude, please." I go, "If anything, I should have accommodated you. This is your home turf. This is your deal. I should have come with something a lot more prepared, and we should have discussed it more." I go, "The problem is we didn't talk until tonight." I go, "Maybe next time we can be, more in sync." And assuming, again, me thinking there's going to be a next time, they want nothing to do with me. 90-year-old woman probably owned the fucking place, and she's like, "Yeah, he's not coming back." But then Mike's wife comes up, and she apparently has never missed an episode of the podcast. Could not have been nicer, could not have been more cool, and also really her name's Anna. Anna was really nice, and she was really encouraging to the point where she goes, "Hey, when you're doing your show and you say you've got nothing, we don't care. You do have something. Keep talking. We want to hear you talk, no matter what it is. You say you've got nothing, and then you talk for like an hour. It's great." And so now I'm so odd. She's giving me this weird pep talk because she can see that I'm in my own head about like the show itself, and also she was just being very nice because she likes the show and wanted to tell me about it. But I will say, as she talked to me, she told me, she goes, "Oh my God, when you started to tell that story, the George Arnold story," she goes, "I wanted to run over to Mike and go, okay, you're gonna have to draw a shower curtain, and you have to draw a bathtub, and you have to draw." And she was going to tell it because she knew the story. And now I realize that when Mike said he heard on the podcast that I had thrown down the gauntlet about being an animator, he heard it from her because she listens to my show. And she works at Disney as an animator. She goes, "Oh my God," she goes, "I'll be drawing children playing patty cake, and you're telling some horrible story about having sex in a movie theater." And on my earbuds, I'm still drawing this really sweet Disney image, and I'm listening to your horrible story. And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's good, horrible, I guess. I don't know. I feel bad for you." She's like, "No, it's great." And Mike is standing next to me, and she's going on and on about the show, and she's being friendly and nice, and she's going, "Yeah." She goes, "He told me that you were going to be here and that he was going to pick you, and I told him, wait a minute. He talks really fast." And so now I realize that one of the reasons Mike chose me and accepted my challenge is because he didn't want his wife to think that he was a pussy and not going to try to draw me. Like he wanted to share his wife's excitement for the show because he doesn't know who the fuck I am and couldn't care less at all about me or my show. But he knows that Anna really liked it, and so he was like, "Oh, cool. Well, this will make her happy if I animate this." And then she kind of warned him off it, and I think he got his hackles up, like, "Well, hey, fuck that guy. Who's this idiot?" And I say this now, knowing full well that she's going to listen to the show and hear my interpretation. And now she's going to hate me. Like, she's going to hate me, and he's going to hate me. But I can't help it, folks. I can't help swallowing my own fucking shoe every goddamn show that I do. I want to tell you stories, and I want to tell you honestly how I felt and unvarnished feelings and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I can't do that, man. I can't be fucking honest because I piss people off. I wind up hurting people with innocuous shit. Innocuous nothing. This is innocuous, right? This story about being going to the animator and him and his wife, and she loved the show, and I thought it went well, but then I kind of fucked it up, and because I'm wearing the yoke of shame on this whole thing. If I would have somehow made it more accessible for Mike, it would have been a better show for everybody involved. But no, I didn't. Instead, I was like, "Well, you want to keep up with me, asshole?" And then I fucking was me. That's the thing. I can't get out of my own fucking way. All I do is step on my own fucking dick. And unfortunately, he's never around to draw it when I need it. He should have just drawn that. That's what he should have just, like I said last week, he should just break his pen and leave. He should just drawn a picture of me standing on my own cock and bailing. The 40-Year-Old Boy is sponsored by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. This will make sense later.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a phrase from the past of the 40-Year-Old Boy, the legendary Johnny Mathis.
Banana underpants, fish bicycle.
that was on me, man. I ruined it. I fucking ruined it. And not ruined it. I was funny, but it could have been so much more than it was. If I would have played along, or if I would have been able to talk to him and give him a set ahead of time, we both fucked it up. You know what I mean? And seriously, I mean, we both, because him thinking that he could follow me not knowing what I do, and me saying, all right, well, buddy, you want to prove it? Let's prove it. Instead, we just talked past one another. If we would have been on the same fucking page, it would have been golden. And then I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have bored you to shit with this fucking story. That's all I do, man. It's all, I can't, because that's the thing. I didn't even want to talk about it after it happened, because I know his wife is a fan and she listens to the show, and I hope she understands. But she understands because she's a fan of the show. People who aren't fans of the show, but that's a fucking lie. Even people that are fans of the show, when I talk innocuous things, I piss them off. And I'm like, I'm just trying to be honest. I'm just trying to tell, to be honest in stories. But instead, I wind up fucking, like I said, spitting shoelaces. God damn it, what is wrong with me? That's all I do. Last week, I did the Battleship Retention show. David and Tyler were nice enough to have me on, and so last week I made a joke on here about how they wanted me to do movie material. And the animator show wanted me to follow along with the animator. And I said, what's with all these shows everybody's telling me what to do? I didn't get into comedy because I wanted to have a boss. And I made that joke, being silly and fun. Well, I'm at my house last week. The show comes out, and it's like 5:30 in the morning. I get an email from Tyler, from BP, from Battleship Retention. And he just says, look, we're not telling you what to do in this show. Like, if you don't, and I'm like, oh, no, please, Jesus, God, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Do I have to be that guy? Do I have to be David Brent from the fucking Office, and I have to fucking elbow you and say, kidding, just kidding, every time I say a goddamn joke? And again, this isn't on them. This is not on Tyler. It's not on anybody like that. I am just stupid enough to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. No, that's not, because I think talking about things is not a crime. I think you should be able to talk about stuff and everything's fine. But it doesn't work that way, man. So this email from Tyler, and I opened it up, and I even said out loud, I went, oh, no. Like, did I sound like that much of an asshole? Because I don't listen to the show, okay? That's the thing. I do my show. I don't listen to it till next week. I listen to it on Tuesday night. And so I listened to last week's show last night, and I thought I was clear that I was kidding, but also let me recognize this. Tyler and I, we don't know each other very well. I only know him barely through his show and through my show, and he's been very kind and offered to help with the one man, among other things. And he's a real good guy. And I think the difference is he is a good guy. I'm not a fucking good guy, okay? I'm a good guy at my core, all right? But Jesus Christ, you got to peel a lot of fucking onion off to find it. And every layer will make you cry. That's who I am. I'm a fucking human onion. I am a goddamn human onion. You got to peel off a ton of shit that'll make you fucking sob to get to the good part in the middle. Oh, fuck. So Tyler's a good person. He genuinely thought he hurt me. So he writes me a long email, and not long. And again, but here's the thing. Here's the problem, folks. Here's the fucking problem of the whole thing. By even doing this now, by even bringing this to you, I'm causing more problems. And yet that's what I do. That's because it's interesting to me to talk about. It's interesting to me to talk about how I can't stop. I can't even believe I do this show every fucking week with my fucking shoe in my mouth. I don't know how it happens, but I do it. But even by talking about this now, I'm gonna risk upsetting somebody, and I don't want to upset. I just should have a blanket. I'm kidding. Like literally, that should be the photo every week. Should just be a test pattern with the words "kidding." Jesus, my God. So Tyler writes me this long, and by long, I'm by internet standards, 2 paragraphs, paragraph and a half, whatever the fuck. He didn't sit down with a fucking quill and write me a goddamn. It's not like Ken Burns read the letter out loud to me. All right, it wasn't like that. He didn't seal it with wax and tie it on a pigeon, okay? It was like a paragraph note. But it was long enough to where I was like, oh, no. So I immediately texted him, because he also tells me, he's like, I'm up late. So I texted him, and I go, dude, I did not, you know what? Actually, if I had my phone, I'd read the text. Fuck it. I'm going to get my phone. Hold on. Okay. So what he wrote me was, he asked about. I've got to find it because we have a little longer of a text thing. Because he did say, all right, this is early on in our discussions. This is back in fucking April when they first asked me. He's like, did you get our message about the show? I said, I did. I was going to call you tomorrow. I'm in. Do I have to do movie-related material or potluck? And he wrote, movie-related preferably. Whatever you want to do is fine with us. We'd just be happy to have you on the show. Okay? So that was on the table all the way. So I know that. But I make it a joke last week by saying they want me to do movie-related material, and I amp it up. But I think they know that I know. I think we're all in on it, okay? I think we're all in on the joke. So then I wrote him back. I was like, glad to do it and happy to be asked. Thanks. So time passes. I do the show last week. I get the email from him, which I won't read to you, but it's this crazy apology saying, like, Mike, we just really want you on the show. We don't want, and I'm like, oh, no, dude, don't you get it? We all get it, right? Don't we all get that I'm just on my show having fun and I'm being honest and I might be amping things up a little bit, but so I wrote him back. This is what my text was. This is sent at 3:42 a.m. Okay. Tyler, I was kidding on the show. Well, not kidding, but not bitching either. I'm excited to be doing the show. My show is just a no-filter type of thing. I hope I didn't misrepresent your show. I never felt dictated to. I know the deal. I'm happy to abide by whatever format you have. If I had any objections, I would have said no. If you want to call me, I'm up. Use either the cell or the landline. And, I mean, I stared into space at 4 a.m. just going, really? I'm sending texts to people to tell them that everything's okay. I mean, over a show, over a 7-minute set and a podcast appearance. Dude, if I ever made it up the showbiz ladder, if I ever got to the point where I was dealing with real people or real executives, how fast do they have me killed? Like, how fast am I completely moon bounced out of Hollywood? I mean, like, not interested at all. I mean, seriously, I just. But this is nothing new to me. This 4 a.m. apology and trying to, because I can't get out of my own fucking way. I can't. I hate to make this show about this every single week, but I mean, I guess that's kind of a running theme, and that's why I am where I'm at. One of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me. Oh my God. I was working on Starface. It was a show that I loved working on because it was a show where the producers and people knew me, but then the writing staff that we put together, I'm in a room with Danielle Koenig, Kevin Sesha, and Matt Weinhold, and a guy named Mike Bailey who wound up becoming a friend after that. But, I loved it so much. But then, as you can tell with this fucking show, I strangled the shit out of it. You know what I mean? I'm so happy to be there. I'm so excited to be a part of it that I can't just be easygoing and have fun with it. I try to, but I'm not. That's not who I am as a guy. Whatever. We wound up in a writing meeting at some point. And I honestly, I can't even remember what the issue was. It was some back and forth about some joke or some bit. And it was me, Danielle. We're all sitting there, the producers and the writers are there. And I got into an argument with Danielle. And by an argument, I mean Danielle was just sitting there bemused looking at me, and I started fucking screaming. Like I like yelled at her. Like I called her on the carpet in front of producers and everybody. And I wasn't her boss. I wasn't anybody. But I was just so... Because I was so fucking in my own skull about trying to impress people and stay impressive and be that guy and hold on to my position. And I loved it so much. Like my passion for it, all right, like I'm a passionate guy, but unfortunately my passion manifests itself in the worst fucking ways. And it's always in these ways where I wind up cutting my own dick off. So I fucking yelled. I yelled at Danielle, got crazy yelled. And everybody told me to calm the fuck down. Like, what the hell is your problem? And so it all calmed down, and we went back to the writer's room, and it was silent, and I turned around and I said, listen, I owe everybody an apology, and I tried to apologize, and I just started crying. I fucking, because I was so overwhelmed with emotion, and I was so mad at myself, okay, that I had become a fool, and also I had upbraided a brilliant friend. I mean, that's the thing is Danny was Jimmy's wife, but I knew her even before she was Jimmy's wife, and we had hired her to come into Load. I mean, that's the thing. The thing I always said about Danielle, and this is going to sound horrible, and I apologize ahead of time. She writes like a guy, all right? I mean, she writes funny. And regardless, even if she wrote a joke where Mike Schmidt is a dick. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't deserve the treatment that I gave her. And I was so angry with myself and so embarrassed and horrified. And then we get into the room, and these are people that I had, kind of fostered a relationship with. And I had a weird thing with Sesha anyway, because Kevin Sesha is one of these guys who, for some reason, and I shouldn't even say for some reason. Kevin Sesha is a guy that everybody loves. Everybody loves him, and they should, because he's fucking hysterical. He's effortlessly cool. I don't even know how to explain it. And I had a weird, like, I wish I was that guy vibe also going on, because he has that thing. He's a guy's guy, but he also can hang out with like 9 girls, and it doesn't look weird. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. He's just a fucking he's a really cool guy. And to have embarrassed myself in front of him and Weinhold and Mike and to excoriate Danielle like that, I tried to explain myself, and I was unable to do it. And I started to cry in front of my peers to explain away yet another transgression, and what is this, 6 years ago? And here I am now doing a fucking show about how I can't stop making transgressions and writing 4 a.m. texts to people and apologizing for things. And it's, it gets to a point where you're not being misinterpreted. All right. You are the problem. All right. You like to think that well, come on, everybody gets me, right? No. Nobody gets you, you fucking asshole. Nobody gets you. You need to fucking scale it back or dial it down or look, I try to make everything funny, and quite frankly, I realize how much I've failed this week. You can fake laugh all you want to try to save it, but that were totally true. I just, I'm in my own head this week because I keep pissing people off. When we did the website, the week I did the show a few weeks ago, I'm running this meeting show, I called Mex the next day, and, just as a goof, I was like, oh, at least you answered the phone. And he goes, oh, so the fact you would say that indicates that you know that I'm not happy, right? And dudes, I was floored. I've known Mex 30 years, and I thought, and again, I hadn't listened to the show yet, so I didn't realize the depth of how much dirt I had thrown on him. Like, I thought I was kidding, and yay, we all get it, right? I'm kidding. But no, because I talked to him on the phone, and I'm just sitting there. I'll be truly honest with you. We talked the next day, and we should have been happy because the website launched, and I had done the show, and everything was cool. And I sat there on the phone going, I'm never going to do another show. I have no interest in doing another show because I had hurt my friend of 30 years. And, he wasn't hurt. He was just like, dude, I wish you would have fucking told me that you felt like I was interfering in the whatever. And I go, dude, no, you're not understanding. I go, that's just me being crazy. I go, that's the show. And it's like, I just get nuts. And and he just goes, you know what though, man, saying that doesn't make it right. And I went, oh, really? It doesn't? Are you sure? Because that's what I've been trying to do forever, is saying, hey, that's just me being crazy. And look, I realize it's not making it right. But the guy who's known me 30 years, who's seen every single fucking layer of the human onion, he's seen it, and I lost him. I'm like, I lost him. And just the fact that I had fucking hurt him made me never want to do this again. Because how could I call him and ask for a picture? How could I call him and say, hey, how are we coming on commercials, or what's going on here? I wanted to abandon it all. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know if you've ever had that feeling where you've let down somebody who's so close to you, or somebody that you love so much that you don't want to, not go on. I mean, I'm not going to, drive into a fucking embankment or anything, but I wanted to just end this entire enterprise. Like, I wanted to just come in and go, it's like if I ever hurt Lily, like, to any real extent, how could I do the show? How could I come in and do this show and have her laugh or think, I've said, oh God, I'm going in circles here. This is ridiculous because I can't, because I'm in my head, because is what I'm doing right. I mean, I'm trying to just be funny and all that stuff, but then all these little transgressions come to light, and I got these people calling me, and I'm just like, fuck, am I pissing them off that much? And God forbid the people from my past ever hear this goddamn show. Holy God! I mean, if the people who I knew growing up ever hear this, because Some of them have. I mean, my buddy, this guy Mark, who I told the story about year one, he wound up getting into the show in year two, and he wrote me. He's very nice and very pleasant. And I said to him, I go, hey, you're actually the subject of a story in year one. And he's like, whoa, my God. So he bought year one, and then I felt weird that my friend had to buy year one. And he's like, what episode is it? And I didn't get back to him because I felt, but I mean, I wasn't mean to him in the story. It was just, it was a story in year one where, because he helped me. That was the thing, is I had told a story about how he and I didn't really get along, but then in a position where I needed someone to help me out, he helped me out. It was when my mom had gone out of town and I had broken a bunch of shit and I needed some money. We'd used a lot of money out of the bank account, and Mark loaned me money. And so he wrote me, and he goes, I don't even remember that. He goes, I don't, he goes, that's great. But you know, he had no recollection of the goddamn thing. Which makes me laugh even harder, because now I figure all these people have these things in their past, and they can hear the show and go, "Oh, I did that! Oh, that's terrible." So you know what? Maybe people can start texting me with goddamn apologies at 4 a.m. But that's the thing, is I'm just in my head. I'm just wondering if I'm just perpetually going to have my fucking foot in my mouth forever by even talking about it. By talking about Tyler. Now, is he going to be mad that I told this story of him being upset? But it's not on him. It's on me, because I pissed him off. Whatever. All right. Then I did their show, and their show was so fucking great. I did the Battleship Retention show, and I'll tell you this. I went and did it. So yeah, with Max, everything was fine with Max. That's the thing. I will say that about Max is I'm a lady. All right, I think I've covered that. I'm very much. That's why I'm such a ninny, where I'm like, oh my God, I can't possibly do another thing. And he's like, dude, everything's over. We talked, it's over, done. So he's a very guy about it. You know what I mean? But I can't help it, man. I'm half a vag, so I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Seriously, I'm not kidding. The human onion is half a vag. So I wind up talking to so I go and do the BP show. And so everything's fine with Max. Everything's fine with everybody. I guess Tyler, everything's fine with him. I don't know if Anna and Mike are going to have any beefs with me after the first part of the show. But I just can't stay out of my own fucking way, folks. But I love doing this. But the whole point of it was to do it unvarnished. But then it pisses people off. All right. And again, I don't know anybody. That's the thing, is I'm nobody. I'm a no one. I sit in my fucking house, and I'm plotting this one-man show that'll be, I guess, fun and interesting for me. Oh, man. I used to joke about just killing myself on the air during the podcast. That should be the end of the one-man show. I should just fucking Bud Dwyer it and eat a fucking bullet right there on stage. So get your tickets now. And bring plastic wrap like Gallagher. You're going to want that in the front row. Although if I shoot myself in the backwards, I'll paint the wall. Oh, all right. I'm lost. I'm talking ahead of myself. So I did the BP. Here's the thing I'll tell you about for the BP show. I did that show, and I was there with Paul Goebel. Did great. He was really good. Paul Rust and Charlene Yee went up. They did a nice job. And then I was going to go up, and it made me laugh because Paul Rust starred in a movie with Hayden Panettiere last year. Okay, and he's in Inglourious Bastards. Charlene Yee is one of the stars of Knocked Up. And she wrote a documentary film, like a fake real documentary called Paper Heart, I think it was called. So she's the star of that. They go up before me. And then the Sklars are headlining. They're like, TV stars, television stars, movie stars. So I go up after Paul and Charlene kill it, and they do their thing. And I went up on stage. First of all, I don't even know why the fuck they're having me follow those two. You have a movie podcast. Why the hell are the movie stars going ahead of Podcast Idiot? Why? And I said that was my opening line when I went up on stage. But here's the thing. I'm in the back of the room with Randy and Jason Sklar, and he goes to introduce me. All right? Tyler does. And I figure he's just going to say 40-year-old boy, because I don't have any other credits that anybody would fucking care about. But it turns out Tyler has been to my website. So Tyler says, hey, our next guest, you might know him. He's a writer. He was a writer on Cheap Seats. Now, I was a writer on Cheap Seats, okay? But I didn't tell Tyler to say that I was a writer on Cheap Seats, because I'm in the same room as Randy and Jason Sklar, who created Cheap Seats. Not exactly going to look like a great credit next to the guys who created the fucking show. Plus, the show's been off the air and out of production for 3 years. So it really looks like a life preserver at that point to be using it in your... So, I mean, I'm embarrassed. Like, I can't believe he said it. Not embarrassed. It has nothing. Believe me, it means nothing to anybody. All right? It means nothing to anybody in the crowd. Tyler thinks he's doing me a favor because, again, he's giving my credits. But in my head, as a comic, I'm weird because I'm like, oh, it looks like I'm trying to gravy train cheap seats in front of the Sklar's and remind them. And it just looks stupid. So I get in my own brain about it. I'm like, whatever. So I go up on stage, and I will tell you this, folks, I fucking destroyed. I fucking killed it, crushed it, dominated it, set it on fire, burned it. I treated it like I treat my own fucking career. That's how much I ruined it. So, and then I finish, and I do the panel with them for the podcast. And I finish, and I go walk into the back of the room, and there's Randy and Jason Sklar. And I hadn't talked to them before my set, and I walked up, and they were very nice, complimentary about what I had done. And Randy Sklar goes, "Nice job." And he goes, "I especially enjoyed the fact that you still use cheap seats as a credit." And so now I'm validated. I'm thinking I'm just going to say, "Hi, guys, what's happening?" Because they've been very cool to me. They've tried to get me in with other writing things. They've involved me in their other projects. Great, really cool guys. And they're just busting balls. They don't know how bad I feel about having been brought up with that fucking credit already. So immediately he goes, "Yeah, I love the way you use cheap seats as a credit." And I go, "Dude," "no, I didn't tell him to do that." He goes, "Yeah, sure." And I go, "No, he got it off the website." He goes, "Well, I'm surprised anybody even knows what that fucking show is. Don't worry about it." Like, they're just busting my balls. So as they're busting my balls, Tyler goes, "All right, we're going to bring up our next our headliners for the evening. You may recognize them from the amazingly funny Cheap Seats." So I just look at Randy. And he just smiles. He's just like, "Ugh." But you know what? The thing is, bullshit on that, because you will recognize them from Cheap Seats because they created it and starred in it. Me glomming on with a weird writing credit, that's ridiculous. But them, they absolutely have a fucking reason to say Cheap Seats. They created the fucking thing. It's a feather in their goddamn twin cap. And thank God that fucking Tyler brought them up with the Cheap Seats credit, because the last thing I need to do is be sending a 4 a.m. text to fucking Jason Sklar going, "Look, I'm really sorry that they use Cheap Seats as a credit. I can't stand out of my own fucking way. Oh, God damn it. Quit apologizing. Quit fucking everything up, dude." I don't know why anybody would want me involved in anything ever. I don't. It's like Karen wants me to do stuff, and I'm just like, you know who I am, right? You know I'm that guy who fucking ruins everything? I almost want to tell her to call Tyler. Do me a favor, text this guy. He'll tell you why I shouldn't go anywhere. Fuck. She wanted me to go to a baby shower over the weekend. I'm like, really? You want me to go to a baby shower with people you work with? That's not going to end well. This could be just an elaborate plan of hers to get fired because she hates it there, so why not? Hey, I'll bring this idiot. He'll muck everything up, and that's that. Holy God. Wants me to go to a baby shower. And I'm like, honey, I can't. And I feel bad not going, but, you know, not really. Who the fuck? I said, well, I have a cock. Why would I want to go to a baby shower? Nobody wants me there. They don't. She goes, well, they always ask, where's Michael? And I'm like, tell him he's home. He didn't want to go to a baby shower. It's stupid. One time, you know, she had a boss at another job, and she worked in another company. His boss named Amy. Amy was a piece of work. Just, you know, tried to be friendly to us, invited us over for the Super Bowl one time, but then was real, like, superior and, like, was nicer to her real friends, and Karen and I just sat there and ate their food and watched the game, you know, that kind of thing. But Amy was just, like, this real condescending. All right, Amy worked, all right, they work for Disney. I don't think she's there anymore, so I'm not going to get anybody in trouble. But this is who Amy was, okay? Amy worked in a different department. You know, Disney is a conglomerate. They own a million, billion different things. They have different, you know, all sorts of different departments. So one time they were on a plane, because Karen used to have to travel for her job. They were flying home from a location. And Amy and Karen were in coach. And Lisa Ling was on the plane. And she was in first class. And Amy was furious that Disney, which was the parent of ABC, would put Lisa Ling from The View in first class, but not Amy, who was a supervisor of her department. And she couldn't understand why Lisa Ling got special treatment and she didn't. That's who this person was. That's who Amy was as a person. Just a pill. So, and bitched about it the whole flight, and actually complained. Like, complained to HR that she had to fly in coach when Lisa Ling got to fly in. And not realizing Lisa Ling's on television. She's a television personality. Amy works in some, you know, low-level fucking scrub office, whatever. Terrible person. So here's something that's funny. She Karen house sat for her once, and she told Karen, she goes, "You can do whatever you want there. Just watch TV. If you want to cook in my kitchen," 'cause she had a really big, nice kitchen. So Karen did. Karen said, "Why don't you come over to Amy's and we'll have dinner in her house?" She said it was okay. So they were out of town, so we actually had dinner at Amy's house. Karen made jambalaya. So and it was so good. And it was fun. We got to play like, well, look, we got a neat house. And then we went home, and after we did what she took care of the dog, I think, or whatever the fuck. So Amy comes back from vacation. She calls Karen into her office. "What did you do in my house?" She's like, "What? I did house set. I did whatever you wanted me to do." And she's like, "Did you use my cutlery?" And she goes, "Yeah, you said we could cook. You said we could do whatever." She goes, "Did you use the cutting board that's on my countertop?" And Karen goes, "Yeah, I made jambalaya. I used your cutting board." She goes, "You left grooves in my cutting board." And Karen goes, "It's a cutting board. You chop things on it. That's the whole point. That's why it's on the countertop." And she goes, "No, that's a decorative board. That cutting board is part of the motif of my kitchen. You're not supposed to use it to cut things on. It's a decoration in my kitchen, which you've ruined."
Oh my god.
Karen's like, "I don't, we're poor people, okay? You see a cutting board, you use it to cut up vegetables. That's what the fuck." But Amy freaked out that Karen used her cutting board because after she has whatever. So that's who Amy was. So all right, Karen. Then I mentioned we went over there for the Super Bowl. Now I had seen Amy a few times. Amy was actually we had doubled with Amy and her husband when I got elbowed in the head at the Tarzan movie. So I was familiar with them, and I was trying to make things work for Karen because Karen was trying to be friends with her. Fine. So here's another thing to know about Amy. Apparently Amy, and I don't know why, this has to do with her fastidiousness, but this is absolutely true. Karen told me that when Amy would use the bathroom, Amy would take off all of her clothes. Okay.
What?
Amy took off all of her clothes to use the bathroom, which is shared. That's something shared. George Costanza on Seinfeld also did that because he said he wanted to be unencumbered. And I will tell you, there's another person who does that. His name is Mike Schmidt. I am a guy who's just never, like, if I use the bathroom, I don't want to wear any clothes. I'm not going to have any clothes on. And I've even done it in, like, bathroom stalls. Like, that's why I will find the farthest stall away, and I'll find the one that has the hooks on the door. So then I'll, like, hang up my pants, and I'll hang up my shirt, and I'll use the restroom. And it always cracks me up because I'll keep my shoes on. So I always wonder if somebody's going to look under. They're just going to see, like, bare legs with socks and shoes and be like, "What the hell's going on in there?" Well, because I've neatly folded my clothes and hung them up. So Karen tells me that Amy does that. She's like, "You're not going to believe what Amy does. She does the same thing that you do, where, like, takes off your clothes and stuff." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me. Nobody does that except Costanza." And she's like, "No." She goes, "She does it." And I'm like, "That's hilarious. Oh, my God, I can't believe it."
Oh my god.
So, because again, I don't like to be encumbered, and I will tell you this: it's changed. I think part of it was being fat because I felt like I was always stretching my pants like completely out, and I will say this: I don't like the stink on clothes. Like I think I've told, like if there was a way I could take my clothes off outside of the bathroom and leave them out there, and then walk in naked, and then go to the bathroom, and then come out and get dressed, I would do it just so my clothes didn't have to be in the stink chamber. I don't want them in there. That's who I am. So Karen tells me this about Amy, and I'm like, "Well, that's fucking crazy." There's no way that she does that. It's insane that she would be like me. So we go to their house for the Super Bowl, and we're hanging around, and we're just making small talk. It's her family and her friends and all this stuff, and I don't want to talk to anybody, man. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm with Karen, and that's it. But I'm being introduced to people, and it's friendly and nice. We're all having a good, and they cooked food. Everything's good. So inevitably, of course, I find myself alone in the living room, or no, the kitchen with Amy, and I go, "Hey, thank you so much for having us over. This is really nice, and because Super Bowl parties are a big deal." She's like, "Yeah, well, I'm glad that you guys could come over. It's really great." And I can't do her voice, but Karen can do her voice. It's funny. Oh yeah, I'm so glad that you come, like that weird like overbite with the haughty tawdy whatever. So I said, "Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Karen." And I have to, this is so great because I've never found anybody who does this. She told me that you take all your clothes off when you go to the bathroom, and I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Who says that? And I think that's awesome. And she goes, oh, what? I said, well, Karen told me, like, when you guys are on the road and stuff, she said that you when you use the bathroom, you like to take all your clothes off. And I said, I got to tell you, I do the same thing. I'm wondering, do you do it because you don't want your clothes, like it's like part of the mess in the bathroom, or you just like to be neat, or why is it? And she looks at me, she goes, oh my God. Oh my God. And I go, what? And she goes, oh my God. No, I don't, you've been misinformed. And she walks away and makes a beeline for her bedroom. Like just beeline out of the kitchen, past her husband, goes in her bedroom, slams the door. And Karen's in the living room and just looks over, and I'm in the kitchen just like holding a soda, and everybody looks in. And I'm literally alone in the kitchen. They saw her leave, and I'm just standing there, and I'm just like, hey, I mean, what do you say? It's pretty obvious I chased her out of the kitchen for some reason. So I go in the living room, and everybody goes, what happened? And I go, I don't know. I'm not sure. I maybe she had to use the bathroom. So I walk over to Karen, and I take her by the elbow, and I'm like, we're probably going to have to leave. It's halftime of the game. It's halftime of the Super Bowl. And she's like, what? And I go, we're probably going to have to leave. She goes, why? And I go, I think I made Amy mad. She goes, what did you do? And I said, I'll tell you later, but we should probably go. And she goes, we can't leave. She's my boss. Like, I can't. That would be rude. I go, I think she probably wants us to leave. Karen goes, I'm not going to leave until she comes out and we make sure she's okay. What did you do? And I said, nothing. We were just talking. So her husband has gone into the bedroom now to talk to her. And I'm trying to, we're watching the halftime show. We're all, hey, let's have some chips. But it's tense. I mean, people know something's going on because she's the hostess. She's gone. She ran away.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm in the living room, and Karen's sitting next to me, and we're just watching the halftime show, and we're eating. And you can hear, like, voices are getting raised, like, in the other room. But I don't know what it is. You can't hear them screaming. It's not like that. You just hear them talking loudly. And finally, the husband comes walking out. And he's just smiling. And he goes, she's fine. He goes, just something, she ate something and it upset her, so she's in there. She's going to be okay. And I was like, well, we should take off probably, right? I mean, if she's sick, we certainly don't want to be, because I just want to get the fuck out the door. And he goes, no, we're fine. It's, let's watch the rest of the game. It'll be great. And we sit in there. The halftime show goes, and then we all sit there. We're eating. We're watching the game. Third quarter starts. Third quarter, no, Amy, never comes out. Never comes out. Never comes out. Fourth quarter starts. Never comes out. Never comes out. We watch the game.
Oh my God.
And I'm just praying that Karen's not going to get fired. Like, I mean, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Oh my God.
So finally, the game ends, and we're all saying goodbye, and then she walks out, and she's wearing, like, a robe and pajamas. Like, she went to bed or something. I don't even know. And she walks out, and she looks fucking horrible. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, honestly, she looks like she's been crying the entire time. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, what the fuck? Who cares? You take your clothes off to go to the bathroom. So what? I was being a kindred spirit. I do too. I do the same exact thing. Maybe she was horrified because she figured I'm in her bathroom taking my clothes off. I don't know. I can't figure out what she's upset about. So she comes out to say goodbye, and she's just like, goodbye. And she's holding her robe closed like a fucking 50s housewife. And Karen's like, are you okay, Amy? Is there anything I can do for you? She's like, no, I'm fine. You guys can just go. You just go. And I walk up to say goodbye, and I shake her husband's hand. I'm like, thanks. And I go, Amy, I just want to say thanks for having us over. And and she goes, no, just get out. Like everybody else she's polite to, but she looks at me and she goes, just get out. And I'm a little pissed off, quite frankly, because, again, she comes out mopey, and she fucking ruined the second half of the Super Bowl. So she looks at me, she goes, just get out. And I go, okay, well, thank you for having us and stuff. And she goes, just go. And I go, okay. Hey, you know what, hon? I'm going to use the bathroom before we take off. Is that okay? And her husband goes, yeah, it's just use the one right there in the hall. I go, yeah, no problem. And Karen goes, okay, well, I'll go out to the car. And I go, no, just hang out. I'll be right back. And Amy goes, you can't do that. And I go, no, I'm just going to use the bathroom before we leave because I know. Fuck you. You just get out? Are you fucking kidding me? Just get out? Who the fuck do you think you are? I didn't say anything bad to you. Just because you are some freak who fucking takes your clothes off, I'm the same goddamn freak. I'm not going to let you make me feel bad about myself because I do the same fucking thing that you do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go fucking do the same thing in your goddamn house. You're like, believe me, it was before camera phones and shit like that were invented, or else I'd be happy to take a goddamn picture of me taking off my sweatpants, Fat Mike folding them up, and just sitting there right there naked in your goddamn bathroom. That's right, just like you. You can't handle the fact that I'm just like you, so it's going to piss you off? So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm going to use the bathroom. She's like, oh, you can't do that. And her husband's like, hey, Amy, it's fine. They're just taking... I went in there. I didn't even have to use the fucking bathroom. I just turned the fucking sink on. Went in there, turned the fucking sink on. Waited. Finally turned the sink off and walked out. And she was just fucking white as a ghost when I walked out. And when I walked out, I made sure to fucking pull my shirt down and straighten out my, like, adjust my pants and shirt. Like, yeah, that's fine. Smiled at her and I said, thanks. We had a great time. We walked out. We get to the fucking car and Karen's like, are you okay? And I go, yeah. And she goes, what did you say to her? I go, I told her that you told me that she takes all her clothes off when she goes to the bathroom, that I do the same goddamn thing. She goes, how did that come up in the kitchen? I said, because I got nothing to say to these people. You bring me, I can only talk about the Super Bowl for so long with people who don't know what the fucking Super Bowl is and are only here to eat crackers and dip. So I find myself alone with her, and it's like, hey, beautiful house. Fucked up your cutting board. By the way, I understand you're a nude shitter. How's that work out for you? I'm in the same club. And Karen's like, oh my God, well, I told you how weird she is. Like, do you think she was going to take that well? And I go, no, I didn't know what to think. I thought we were bonding because I do the same fucking thing. She goes, oh my God, she's going to fire me tomorrow. I go, she's not going to fire you because she would have to put that on the report. Fired you for disclosing nude bathroom activities? Fuck that. If anything, you have a job there for life now because she knows you got some loose cannon husband who'll fucking tell everybody that story. But that's it, man. I can't. I've been doing it forever. You think just now I'm pissing people off and fucking putting my foot in my mouth all the time? No, I've been doing it a long fucking time. That's why I can't believe Karen wants me to go out with her to these fucking situations. It's crazy. And you know what, Karen also, she did this. This fucking baby shower was Saturday. All right, she went and saw her friend Saturday. And then I see her, I signed the card, whatever. She's got to bring her a gift. And I talked to her on Tuesday. Yesterday. And we're in the car, and I said, she goes, Val had her baby. I said, wait a minute, she had a baby shower Saturday, and she had a baby today? And she goes, yeah. I go, man, that's cutting it pretty close. I go, what did we get her? She goes, well, we got her a basket, and we filled it with a bunch of, like, products and stuff for the baby and all that. I said, oh, okay. She goes, yeah. She goes, you know what? She didn't give me a thank you card yet. I said, she just had a fucking baby. You had the party Saturday. She had the baby Monday. Do you really think that she said... I go, when is she going to write those cards? When she's got her feet in the stirrups and she's just like, oh, push, oh, thank you for the baby wipes. And Karen starts laughing. She realizes how fucking dumb it is that she said that. And I'm just like, oh, God, thank you. Go, Jesus Christ, scale it back. You'll get a thank you card as soon as she names her kid. But now I'm sure that's going to get out now, and Val's going to hate me. I mean, it's like, that's the thing. I should be happy for my relatively small audience because if I only piss off 5,000 people a week, I guess that I'm doing okay. I want the show to get really popular so I can piss off millions of people a week. You guys can get me at Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/The40-Year-Old Boy. You You can follow me at twitter.com/the40year-old-boy, or you can just go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the You Can Get Me a page and follow all the links there. You can become Lily's friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp, or you can follow her at Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp, or you can follow her at Twitter.com/MNTs. That's all the places to get a hold of Lily and to get a hold of me. Also, if you wanted to just send Lily a note, something that she won't discuss with me, something on the QT, something very quiet.
Yes.
You can get her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. The 40-Year-Old Boy is sponsored by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. This will make sense later.
Zazzle.com/40-year-old boy. Please buy all his stuff.
In the show where I've talked about pissing everybody off, I think I've pissed off the one person I can't afford to piss off. Quite frankly, John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. He sponsored the show this week. And I forgot to mention him because I was in my own fucking brain about what a fucking dipshit I am. That's a word I've been using lately, dipshit. I got to stop. So, yeah, John at www.q-engineer.co.uk sponsored the show this week. Go visit his website. And you know, he's the one. Maybe he stands by me through all this. Maybe he's the one pillar of strength. You know what? I can't sell him short like this. I got to, maybe, you know what I should do? I should record a fucking, like a drop. And we should just can you jam it in the show? Like throughout the whole fucking show. So that, you know what, that's even funnier to me because then I'll record it now and then like people will hear it earlier and they'll be like, why the fuck is that in here? And then now it'll explain that. All right, so all that shit you heard earlier about John at www.q-engineer.co.uk, that's because I fucked up and I forgot to mention him throughout the show. So retroactively we had to do this. And again, he's a guy I can't afford to have pissed off at me, quite frankly. Everybody else is going to fucking bail on me and then I'll be this old man because I always tell Karen, we've got a plan on deck where we could just disappear into like a small town and I could be a cook at a bar somewhere. You know what I mean? And she always goes, oh my God, no, never. Because I guess because then that would be less ways to escape from me. If you're in a small town with me, then where's she going to go? To the old swimming hole? I mean, that's not going to happen. I want to remind you guys about the Monday Night Teas also. The Monday Night Teas is always sponsored by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. This week, hey Lily.
Yes.
Who's on the show this week at the Monday Night Teas?
Oh my fuck.
Oh my fuck. All right.
We have 10 dancers.
10 dancers, 20 breasts,
I
right?
think so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Barring an industrial accident before Monday.
Scott Neary is hosting.
Scott Neary, he has a very unique act, I understand.
He juggles pancakes.
He juggles pancakes. I've never heard of this, but that's fine. He's the host.
And I'm not sure how this happened, but we have world-famous magician Rudy Kobe performing with us.
Rudy Kobe,
Rudy Kobe.
world-famous magician.
Yeah.
You're not just saying that.
No, he was out on tour with Marilyn Manson's tour. He's his magician consultant.
He's Marilyn Manson's magician consultant.
Yeah. And,
Can he explain to me why Marilyn Manson seems to have disappeared? I'm a fan. I'm just joking. He's the first celebrity we ever saw when we moved to town. Because I always say we saw Jeff Conaway at Target, but that was like a week in. Karen and I, the second night we got here to L.A. with her brother-in-law, we went to Mel's Diner down on Sunset, and we were walking, and he was in the parking lot. He had the crazy eyes, the wonky eyes with some hot chick, and he walked by, and we just like, I froze, and we all just kind of watched him walk by, and he's like, hello. I'm like, hey, hi. It was interesting, but it was because it was the second day here. You're like, oh wow, Marilyn Manson's at Mel's. So yeah, Rudy Kobe, world famous magician, will be at the Monday Night Teas. That's this week. So I'm assuming no code word this week.
No code word. Plus, do you know what else we have?
I don't.
A taco truck.
A taco truck.
And cocktail service.
Wait a minute. Hold on. All right, hold on.
Yeah, I know.
A taco truck. Now, will the taco truck be performing? Are they stripping? How's that working?
No, right after the show at 12:15, we can go outside and enjoy Chinese, Mexican fusion tacos, and I feel
Courtesy
terrible.
of Don Chow?
Don Chow, yes.
Don Chow Taco Truck.
Don
So,
Chow Taco.
and I believe you can find them on Twitter as well.
Yes.
Follow them at Don Chow Tacos, perhaps. Just Google Don Chow, and you'll get either their website or their Twitter.
Amazing.
Great food, and they will be there at the Monday Night Teas feeding everybody. Bring your cash, because don't they have? Oh, dude, they have a taco that has like it's carne asada
Yes.
and caramelized onions and bacon.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a hard punch in a tortilla, but Jesus, is it good? So go ahead and pick that up. So come on out to see Don Chow's Taco people and all these dancers and Scott Neary and Rudy Kobe. And are you going to be there? Are you working the door? What are you doing?
I am actually performing.
Lily's performing. You get to see Lily's breasts too.
Yes.
Fuck tacos. Lily's breasts are involved. Boobs and tacos, but Lily's boobs. That trumps tacos, so come and see Lily doing her number and all that fun stuff. Maybe she'll wear the pink panties she's wearing right now. Yeah, your zipper doesn't work. I didn't want to say it. It was earlier. It was down, and you had yeah. All right, so just letting you know. I'll let you know now, but not, of course, not during the show because.
My bra doesn't work either.
True. Your bra seems to have really malfunctioned. So go to the Monday Night Tees. Go ahead and follow them at, like I said, twitter.com/MNTees, and follow Lily on Facebook and follow the Tees. Go be a fan on their page and all that kind of stuff. I want to yawn. I'm sorry, folks. I'm yawning. I'm letting it happen because it's 12:45 a.m. That yawn is brought to you by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk. That's right. It's 12:45. That'll tell you how long it took to get to this fucking show because I could not crawl out of my own skull in time to do it. So yeah, go see the Monday Night Tees, and that'll be exciting. And do we have more stuff for you to plug? No, because I have no. Oh, plug Zazzle. Why not? I'll tell you about Zazzle.com. Go to Zazzle.com. We've got all the stuff there: the mugs, the mouse pad, and the Stripple shirt. Go ahead and pick up a Stripple shirt, folks. It's flying out the doors. That seems like an exaggeration. Don't forget to visit the Westside 86 Jokers. It's the Mike Schmidt Fan Club page at Facebook. Go ahead and find Westside 86 Jokers. That's the number 86, please. Go ahead and use that. And don't forget that in San Francisco, I will be there August 20th and 21st at the Dark Room Theater doing the one-man show in August. The tickets are on sale, folks, at Brown Paper Tickets. There will be a link on my Facebook page. You can go ahead and get tickets and check me out in San Francisco. One-man show is coming along. I think I have the ending. I don't know. I'm trying to work backwards on it. Yeah, trust me, definitely. I was going to leave it subtle, but the fact that you picked it up, all right, that's fine. Want to tell you folks. Oh, and speaking of all this Monday Night Tees talk, I will be there. I'm performing there June 28th. So if you guys are in town and around, I know our friend Erica is actually coming in from Kansas. That's the reason I'm doing it. The only reason I'm doing the show is because our friend Erica from Kansas said, "Hey, I'm going to be in town. Are you going to be performing anywhere?" And I said, "Well, I'll do the Tees if you want to come, because then you can meet me and Lily. Why would you want to come to some horrible open mic? Maybe we can get some tacos rounded up for Erica. That'll be fun." So that's June 28th. I'll be at the Tees. And also, go to my website, man. Go to the Hey What's Happening page and the Rocky with a Blog page. I'm trying to update those with content pretty much all the time. We just started this feature called Explosions of Id, which is their comic strip panels that Mex is doing with text from the show. We did one last week. We might do a couple more this week. It depends. It's not going to be a regular thing, but I will be regularly updating, so go ahead and check it out. And also, Rocky with a Blog did start. And then I got kicked in the balls by a candy purchase and had to fall backwards a little bit. But again, I copped to it, man. I put it right up on Rocky. So follow along with all my trials and tribulations. And it's interesting. I will tell you this. There is a trainer. Tyler referred me to a trainer, and I couldn't afford it. So this trainer comes and he sees me at the Battleship Retention show. And again, I fear that even bringing this up is going to queer this whole deal, but I have to bring it up. Sean is his name, and I think it's fittolife.com. I'll get into it more next week, but Sean wrote me. I just saw the email, and he offered to train me, and he wants to help me out. He met me Saturday, and I said, because we were talking about training and stuff, and I go, go check out this Rocky with a Blog thing that I've been doing. You'll read like my first entry that I had, which was 340, and then follow along with it. And he could not have been more nice. His wife Heather was beautiful and wonderful. And so Sean then writes me and he goes, "You know what? I've been thinking about this, and I'd really like to help you, man." He goes, "Reading your blog was rough to find out how much of your self-worth is tied up in who you are and your body image and all that." And that I was fucking pissed off reading that. I'm just being honest here because it's like, no, my self-worth isn't tied up in it. I just recognize that I'm fucking up and I'm making mistakes and I want to fix it. Like, I hope I don't come up with some sad sack idiot with Rocky and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm genuinely excited about making changes and making things happen. And so almost, again, like I didn't want to contact Max to do the show. I almost didn't want, and now I don't want to contact this guy because I've written him back about, the training with him because I'm like, oh, he thinks my self-worth is fucking damaged? Well, yeah, maybe it is. I mean, that's the whole point. That was the whole point of the whole thing. But it felt condescending, even though he wasn't condescending, but I'm putting that on his written word where I'm going, oh, I don't, I'm Brad Pitt in True Romance, condescend to me, motherfucker. I'll fucking kill you. Then I'll take another, instead of hitting the honey bear bong, I'll just squirt honey into my mouth from it because I have a completely different addiction and pathology. But Sean, I'll get into Sean more, hopefully, if I haven't chased him off after this. But I think I'm going to start training with Sean, and that'll really help with Rocky, and a lot more entries are coming. So go ahead and follow along with that. That'll be great. And what did I say? Zazzle and the one-man show, and I'm starving. I'm going to go eat because I didn't eat yet. I watched hockey in my house, and then I came here, and now it's fucking 1 in the morning, and I'm going to miss In-N-Out, which is a bummer. Because, again, for Rocky, I shouldn't be eating fast food, but unfortunately that's all that's open at goddamn 1 in the morning. Like I should be eating chicken and stuff like that, and not like fucking, Popeye's chicken or any of that bullshit. I should be eating real chicken. Although I want to eat I don't want to eat Popeye's chicken, but dude, all right, here, listen to this. KFC's got the Colonel, all right? Well, now Popeyes has like a black woman they've hired to be on their commercials where she's like, hey, I cooked all this food. No, you didn't. We're supposed to believe that you cooked all this food from Popeyes? I don't believe it. But here's my favorite. In their new commercial for chicken, I swear to God, Karen and I were watching it the other day, and Karen loves Popeyes chicken. So I go, look, they have this weird new mascot, a black chick. So we start watching it, and the black chick goes, oh, you got to come here and try my new chicken. And she holds it up, and she goes, this is chicken with a sense of humor. Ha-ha! Well, then why did you kill it? Why? If this chicken had any sort of emotions or feelings that even conveyed that it was partially human, why did you kill it and fry it? What the fuck is your problem? This is chicken with a sense of humor. I go, well, I guess it's in the wording. She didn't say this chicken had a sense of humor. That would be the way I'm interpreting it. But she's like, this is chicken with a sense of humor, as if that's a selling point to get me to eat there? Who goes to a restaurant and goes to the waiter, excuse me, can you tell me what's good today? Well, I'll tell you what, the burritos are hilarious. I mean, that's not going to get me to fucking eat anything. Hey, sir, what's funny tonight? Well, the lasagna is hysterical. Have I told you that? I don't give a fuck that your chicken has a sense of humor. Does it taste good? That's all I care about at this point. And you know what their idea of a sense of humor? It's twirly. It's like twisted. That's what it's called, twisted chicken, and it's kind of like curvy, like a corkscrew. Dude, just because you put your fucking chicken in a weird corkscrew meat press doesn't mean it's funny. What the hell is wrong with you, Popeye? Why do I spit out this random bullshit that nobody fucking cares about? I am peddling obscenity. I am going to get a whole fucking army of you people, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to me and then do nothing for an entire fucking week. I can't be trusted. Don't you people know this? It was like the Back to the Future of suck. I don't want to have a boner in somebody else's pants. I need to shoot up heroin and jog. Hey, ass fuck, are you listening to anything that I'm saying to you? Fuck, somebody's got to shut that old guy up. And I'm like, fuck you! I'm not a potato! I'm a goddamn cantaloupe! Hi, Mike. 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 The 40-Year-Old Boy is sponsored by John at www.q-engineer.co.uk.